Nombasa, how are you?
Hello, Brady. I'm well. I'm well. How's things on your
Thank you.
side?
Things are well. Things are well. For those of you that are watching, we had a few technical glitches just before we started. Apologies for coming onto the platform late. Things were going south really quickly, but hey, we're here. Hey, it's technology age, and yeah, things can go wrong.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
great, great. Let me take this opportunity to just welcome you, Nombasa, once again, and welcome our viewers. Obviously, thank you so very much for joining us today. Our topic that we're going to be having it's inspiration through music, but what we're really looking at is Nombasa's story. And some, if you would like to think about it, it's inspiration through music with Nombasa, or we're just looking at her story, and she will be, giving us more details on that. But maybe you're wondering who is this Nombasa, and I am here to just, you know, uh, give a brief background, and obviously she will obviously tell us a little bit more about herself as we get into it. Please do share the stream, share the stream, share the stream. Very important for you to share the stream. We want to reach far and wide so that we can obviously inspire. Maputi Mahlaba, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Let us know where you are watching from. But she says, hello, Mbasa, her royal gorgeousness. Mbasa, people are loving you. So, who is
Hey,
Mbasa?
Max.
No, Nombasa Maqoko is an Eastern Cape born singer, songwriter, performer, narrator, podcaster, program coordinator or maker, and a master's candidate in of ethnomusicology at Rhodes University. She has shared the stage with the likes of Asanda Mqiki, Msaki, Zahara, Nkunz, eMdaka, Vusi Mahlasela, and others. And I hope I'm being some of these names. But anyway, as a podcaster and narrator, Nombasa has presented a BBC documentary, The City That Sings, and having founded the Live Songs podcast, she is the presenter and producer of the program. Her passion for song writing has also seen some of the youth from the Eastern Cape and Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls in particular, with the Global Sojourn Giving Circle at the receiving end of her workshop. This speaks into her passion to let others' stories be heard through songs. Mbasa, you are an inspiration to us and obviously many young people out there. Thank you so very much once again for honoring our invitation. We are super excited to have you here.
Thanks, Freddie. It's good to be here. Thanks for reaching out.
I am ready to just get blown away and inspired. I've listened to you on the stage once at Surfest Africa. What an amazing performance. I never forget that. I think you were actually it was amazing, and we had phone calls afterwards. We had messages coming in and just saying how amazing you are. So I definitely know how amazing you are, and today it's such a marvel to have you. But to start the segment, what we're going to do is we're going to play a game. And this is a game that really helps us to know you. So you have 5 seconds to answer our either or questions, and from this we will be just reading more into you, and for some of them we might just ask you why, but yeah, let's have fun. So numbers to kickstart the 5 second game, and with regards to music, guitar or piano?
Guitar.
Any specific reason why?
It's portable. You can carry it wherever. It's nice and
Marvelous.
easy. Yeah.
Marvelous. Choir or solo?
Choir. I'm starting to realize choir.
Songwriting or singing a song?
Any day, songwriting, any day.
Wow. Lead or backing vocalist? I think this is rhetoric, but let's have it. Lead or backing vocalist?
Sure. Backing vocalist. I'll probably explain later on. Backing vocalist, definitely.
Dance or die. If you were given the options to really dance us away until your souls are all gone, or die, what would it be?
Listen, I will dance. I will dance. I will get down.
Hey, good people, if you see Nombasa in the streets, she won't mind you asking her to just give her a short, to give you a short dance. But anyway, as we move quickly, swiftly to general questions, church or club?
Church. I'm a church girl.
Church girl. TV or book?
I'd say book, although haven't been reading much, but definitely book. I don't like TV. I don't want to own a TV for some reason.
I hear you. When it comes to health matters, drink or water?
Water.
Cheers. Meat or vegetables? We're getting to the end of this.
Meat.
When it comes to gifts, flowers or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Great. I think we're at the end of that. So chocolate, there you have it again, listeners. If you are thinking of buying Nombasa a gift, don't go to Pick and Pay and buy a bunch of flowers. She will appreciate it, but inside she would have preferred a chocolate. Anyway, Mbasa, just to get to know you formally now a little bit more, we have your bio. We know a little bit here and there about what either ors you would pick. But if you were to paint a picture of who is Nombasa, the downs of life, the highs of lives, what would that picture look like?
Wow. I usually ask those questions, with the people I've interviewed. Even socializing. I like asking people what they do, where they come from. But for me, it's quite hard to to answer that question. But Nombasa is a girl, a woman who was born and bred in a small town, Grahamstown, lover of life, love of people. I love community. I love loving people. I love music, and I think that's one of the reasons why I even decided to go for ethnomusicology, because it combines music and culture, which is music and people. So people, where there's people, I'm there. Where there's just life and a bit of adventure, I'm there. Very much community centered, really. I love hosting. I love hosting in a manner of both, at home cooking for people, but as well as doing things like this where I get to engage, with people. So that's in a nutshell. That's in a nutshell.
Yeah. I mean, when it really comes to music, which is why we are really here today, I'm keen, and maybe many people are, to know, when did you realize that you were really interested in music? Was it something you're just born into? Was it a calling, or is it just something that was, driven by passion and seeing others?
I think this is the thing. I mean, even with the BBC documentary that we did, that we launched last year in March, about Masikule, where it combines like a community and like members of community and a vast number of school children. It's a common theme in South Africa that if you don't get music from school, then it's at home, and vice versa, right? Oh, yeah. And so I think for me, I had a very growing up. I mean, in grade 1, while everyone who was asked, "What do you want to become?" They'll be like teacher, lawyer, doctor, whatever. I remember being the only one who was like, "I want to be a singer. I wanna sing," and so. I knew at a very early age, and obviously that partnered with being in like school choirs, as well as my grandmother at home. Most Saturday afternoons that we spent would be in the lounge sitting, because I grew up Methodist, right? And so she would, because I used to love alto, and I'll always make her sing soprano. So she would just open a hymn and say, Nombasa, Izanalo Tulo, that hymn book. and we would sit, and she would like, okay, pick your favorite, and then I'll pick my favorite. And then from that, I think I really grew to just love music and singing and harmonizing. So it was a balance of both. It was a balance of school as well as at home, where my grandmother sang a lot. I think many people can also share that it's music in African homes. We sing, you know, whether it's rituals or, you know, whether we grew up in those kind of environments of rituals or church, etc. There's always music. So in one way, you would have been exposed to music.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you start to open, you know, important issues to say that the things that we do with our kids when they're still young, they are most likely to develop passion in that area. So it is very important as parents, and as you know, some of us may be watching today, we might be tomorrow's parents, but in the home space that we are, if there are kids, really, you know, engaging in things that are inspiring, so that, you know, you might open their path of life. But I'm also interested because you mentioned Methodist and the hymn book and songs, and what I'm interested to know is that, you know, with the music that you sing, do you have a specific genre that you lean towards, and why has that been, you know? Yeah.
I think, okay, this is going to be a very multifaceted answer, but I mean, I don't like the idea of you know, boxing and saying this is the type of music I do, and also this is the type of music I listen to. And I think especially started, you know, when I started studying at Rhodes and learning all these modules on music culture, music health in the brain, music, Western, all these, you know, courses. Your mind is open a lot. So I listen to a vast amount of music. And I think over the years, even the influence of the different types of music, I've also there was a period that I went for weeks, you know, listening to Bobby McFerrin that I never knew. You know, I had never discovered him before, and when I just fell in love with his music. And so it really it depends. So with my particular music, I guess I could say it's Afro folk. But I mean, that's also narrowing it down, because I don't think I mean, this is the thing also about developing as a musician, especially a Black female, is that people will by default they'll classify you as an Afro soul musician, but sometimes it's not, you know, it's not really that. It's just I think it's just a lazy term we use around to sort of to seek to describe something that we probably have never really heard before, you know. And so I'll just stick to acoustic Afro folk for now. I think that's what I can really say to narrow it down.
Yeah, I guess not to be boxed, because, you know, we still have a long way in the future to go, and who knows what you know, might inspire you, as you were saying. And just on that note, you know, an interesting then, you know, point is raised, because we spoke earlier about your grandmother, and we spoke about the surroundings, but my question is to say, how important has been, you know, that environment? Maybe some might actually say culture has a part in it when it comes to influencing, you know, music and the type of music that you then do. Do you see any, you know, relation to, through your music, obviously, to culture, experiences, life experiences, and you know, what have you?
Certainly. I mean, to just maybe divert a bit into, you know, the musicians I've been interviewing with regards to inspiration and what they've been inspired by in writing songs. You know, for instance, Msaki, I'm releasing her podcast next week. Msaki is really much very much motivated by nature. You know, her ideal writing song place is just being by the ocean in nature. And that for me is amazing. And then some people are very much so that's the external environment. And also, I mean, she's she also voices out. She is sort of a music advocate, because also her music point out societal issues, right? And so I mean, the surrounding environment has a lot to do, and even people like Didi Luzipo, when I interviewed her, she said something profound, that we are society members before we're musicians, right? And for me, I took that even through the course of her of me interviewing her, is that she's aware of what's happening around, and so for me, yes, I am aware of that, but also if I'm not moved by that, right, I can't really say things. For instance, there's a song of mine about fatherlessness. I grew up without a father, but actually it's a theme that you see in society, that there's a lot of fatherless issues, and so I think it just interlinks and interchanges itself, where you look at society or your surroundings, and then you internalize that, or internally there's something you're experiencing, and then when you as you put it out there, you find that actually I'm not alone in this, So I'm inspired by a lot of things, but I think more especially I want my music to be relevant. I want someone when they listen to my music and be like, oh my gosh, I felt that, in the themes of healing, in the themes of hope, in the themes of celebrating, and not leaving that behind as well. So
healing, and we need so much of that, especially 2020, 2021. Hope, we need that in abundance. And what would we do without music? Just to say again hi to our viewers, please do share the broadcast. Thank you so very much for taking time to be with us. We also want to know who you are. Please be nice in the comment section. Don't be like Lungo. Please be nice. Play nice. We also want to see the hearts coming. They inspire us, obviously. And today on the session we have, obviously, as you can see, the amazing Nombasa, and she is just sharing with us her story and her journey in music. Let's hope that you will be inspired. Share. Just to continue, Nombasa, and I'm really starting to delve in deeper here, and I'm just interested to know, because people usually, what we see is that once you get into music, you tend to leave your small town like Grahamstown and go into big cities. Actually believe that big city means big opportunities and big breaks. And for you, you've decided to stay obviously in Grahamstown. Well, at least for now, that's what we know. Is there any particular reason why? And are you, in the future, are you looking to be breaking into this, big spaces, big cities?
That's a good question. I'm very much, as much as I'm a small town person, but I think the main commitment now has been to really get my claws into the academic space, because I don't just view myself as a performer, but also I want to be aware of the cultural happenings, and so that's why this year, with the course Ethnomusicology, I consider myself to be an ethnomusicologist in the making, because it combines both music and culture, So I don't want to just be a performer. I do want to be in the academic space as well. So that's one of the things that I feel committed to in the season in my life, And should an opportunity come in the near future to go to those to the bigger cities, I'm open to that, But I think because this journey has been it's been I mean, the journey of music is very uncertain, and for me, I thought, can I maybe just maximize on the fact that I've got opportunities within academia, to pursue studies. So that's that with regards to that question.
And let me not be shy to ask, I mean, ethnomusicology, what is that? I mean, it is a big word. It is a big word. That I can definitely confirm, and I don't think that I'm the only one that does not know what that is.
I love it. I love it because every time I say I'm studying ethnomusicology, people are like, sorry, what's that? I'm not going to pretend as if I know that. What is it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, obviously, over the years, it was really established in the 1950s formally, but it had existed
yeah.
prior to that. And it's the study, in a nutshell, it's the study of music in the context of culture. So
Oh,
you're not just studying music, do re mi fa so, performance, etc., but you are studying the
mm,
overall. I mean, for instance, in different settings in the African context, what is performance? Performance is not merely standing in front of a stage and singing, but it's having the whole audience interact with you. So,
oh yeah.
such narratives are introduced through ethnomusicology. It explores
Mm,
all the different facets, every single thing that involves
mm,
music and culture.
mm,
It explores on. So, in a nutshell, that's
mm.
what ethnomusicology is.
Learning something, I mean, they say that learning never ends. Hey, look at me, I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Again, sorry, I do like to most of the time just interact with the people that are also watching so that you know that we see your comments coming. Hilda H. Makalza, thank you very much for commenting. She is watching, and Gladys is watching from the Free State. Hi, how are you there? Thank you very much for watching. You guys are great. You inspire us. You are the ones that keep us going. And today, obviously, we are speaking to Nombasa. And hope you are getting inspired. Please press the share button and share this broadcast as far and wide as you can. Great. So, Basa, we just want to just dive in more into really the essence, power, the touch, the extent that music can go to, to touch, change, inspire people, right? And I just want to just get deeper into the series that you just started. It's called Live Song, the podcast that you just recently started. I just want you to speak to that a little bit more. What was the thinking around that? What inspired you? And, yeah, can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Well, it's it's two things, right? So, first of all, in one of my performances in the National Arts Festival, there was a guy who approached me. I think he had seen me in East London perform, and then he came back and he approached me to say, the song that you sang, it led me to reconciling with the mother of my child, because I want to be
Mm,
there, for my child. And I just thought that's a radical decision from hearing a song. Clearly it
yeah.
evoked like an emotion. It's the song I was talking about, of
Yeah.
fatherlessness, right? And so, but I mean, I think it's an idea that had been brewing in my mind of just thinking,
Mm,
also when I perform the song, there's hardly like a dry eye in the room. And so I think
yeah.
I then started to think, there is more to share with people in terms of the songs that artists write, musicians write.
Mm,
There must be it's not just like an emotion. It's not just like, okay, artists perform, and there's the hype and the emotion, and then people just go back. It has like a long-term effect,
yeah.
right? And so upon having been exposed then to doing podcasts, in one of my modules, we were trained by Jane Morgan
Mm,
on how to do podcasts and stuff. I really developed this passion to then see that. So how can we tell this story of artists, between the artist and the supporter?
mm,
What connects them? What connects them? And so the Live Song podcast does that. it answers such questions, and it addresses, I mean, people. So it's like the artist and the three supporters. The three supporters basically they answer questions on how the particular body of work or song of that artist impacted them or changed their lives. And I think the responses that I've been getting have been just also for me have been life-changing. That someone would heal from encountering a particular song, and would be, that would be a mark of their healing season, and it would be even one I think Bamanye that you'll hear next week when I release the podcast, that literally when her dad passed away earlier last year, her grief was also helped by one of Msaki's songs, right? And so that's what the motive really was, is that it's also to highlight that artists actually, as much as we call them celebrities, they're human, right? And they have the human experience. They go through much of the stuff that we go through, whether it's hurt, whether it's just brokenness, happy. It's the same. It's the same emotions, but they have the privilege of articulating that through music. And so that was also really inspired by just really wanting to also close the gap between the artist and the supporter, to really see that we actually have more in common than we think, and also that the decisions sometimes that we make are from hearing and listening to the body of work the artists get to offer, So that's where the Live Song Podcast theme came from.
Yeah. Really powerful stuff. I mean, actually life-changing. And I think many of us that are on this session tonight can agree that there is a musician somewhere that took you through a certain rough patch or a certain good patch, because, obviously sometimes you're celebrating and there is music for that. Sometimes you're hurting and there's music for that. And really powerful. But I would like to know, and this is just a follow-up on that, is to say, what does that do to you as a musician, just knowing that this journey that I am singing, this is my life that I'm putting out there, but the moment that I've shared it with the masses, it seemingly is not only my story has become, the story of the many that are, subscribing and listening to it and receiving healing or whatever it is that they're taking from the music. What does that do to you as a musician?
I think it's very much it's a very huge source of motivation, and it also keeps you going. It's one of the things that keep you going, because you know that you actually have the privilege of telling your story, but also in retrospect, you're telling other people's story, So, and even when people come to your gathering, the small gathering, your shows or whatnot, they are, they're expectant, they know that when they come off, when they come from that, they're going to be revived, they're going to be healed, they're going to be, there's something that you are going to be doing in their hearts. And so it's incredibly encouraging, because also as when you are any form really of, overall, as people, we are nothing without other people, but I think in the arts, we're really nothing without the people, because you're presenting the art to people. So it also gets you to feed off that energy of knowing that you are doing this and people are watching and people are observing and people are benefiting from your art. So it's hugely motivating and humbling, really.
Yeah. And if I may just take the opportunity to say to our viewers, then if you are then watching, whether it's live or you're watching on YouTube. It can be simply on YouTube if you're watching a piece, or on Facebook, on social media. Please do leave a comment for the artist if it is changing your lives, because that does something to them. As you can hear Nombasa saying, be kind enough to say, I've been inspired. Share your testimonies. Sometimes some testimonies are not for everyone. Send them an inbox and just say, you have touched my life. Maybe that would be the source of energy that they need to just keep going. So please do, please do, please do. I'm interested to know, because you say that this journey with live song has been changing you as well. And what I want to know, Nombasa, is to say, they, specific wow moments that you would like maybe to just share with us when, you were doing these interviews, whether with the musician or with the supporters, where you just felt wow and you just had a warm heart yourself?
I think first of all, I did at first. I was very hesitant because I was just like, oh my gosh, artists are probably busy doing their own stuff. But I think for me, because the first person, literally, I had sent emails to various artists, and literally within a space of like just over an hour, Brenda Mtambo, who actually is the first on the series, responded, and she was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And I think for me that gave me such confidence, because I mean, she doesn't know me. I'm not yet at that level where people know me. So I think that gave me absolute confidence to approach everybody. And I mean, with season 2 coming up this year, I managed to even like scoop bigger artists, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And I think for me, it was just it was like an aha moment for myself that, you know what, when you actually have a dream to do something, just do it and not be apologetic about it. Do it with humility and just go for it. If it's a mistake, wherever in the journey, it will manifest itself. But also, I believe in making mistakes. I think I haven't been open to making mistakes and etc. Because I have a passion for broadcasting as well, for telling people stories. So I'm going for it, and I don't think I want anything to be in my way. So I think it was just a huge motivating of pursuing even other things, not just this, but also other things that I want to do in my career.
Yeah. A powerful lesson really coming from that, Mbasa, to say that most of the time, and I know that people that are here will attest to say that when you want to start something, if it's new and there's a lot of self-doubt that cripples its way in, and all you just have to do is have the faith and confidence to just start, and things have a way of falling into place. And another thing that you say, even if they don't fall into place, even if it's a mistake that you do, at the end of the day, there are lessons to be learned from that, right?
You would have learned. You would have learned something. You would have learned. There's no. I mean, even with the ideas that people have and they're scared of exploring them, there's I was even thinking about how many ideas of unlocking some of the answers community and society has, depend on the ideas people have, and so if you're gonna shy away from being a solution, then we're pretty much gonna not benefit from being freed in a certain area as a society. So that's that.
Just to go back to our viewers, Nigiwe Makaruta watching from Boston, United States of America. Thank you so very much for connecting.
Oh, wow.
We love you. We love you. We love you. And to this really motivates us. As I said, if something is motivate, please keep the comments coming. They can obviously encourage us, right? And if you have any questions from Nombasa, please do also send those through. Nombasa, I just want a little longer. We are almost done, but I just want, I mean, I saw you posting, it's a few days back where you were actually saying it has been my first season was a success. And this is some of the feedback that we got. And I know what the answer is, but can you speak a little bit to that? What is some of the feedback that you're getting, and obviously the zeal that it is giving you, the type of energy that it is creating in you?
I think for me, it was also it has been the fact that it's unique content, because you hardly I mean you get to I mean artists are being interviewed all the time,
Yeah.
but I haven't come across where you get artists and the fans sort of interacting in the
Yeah.
background and just feeding off and saying this is what your song did, like explain, to get the artists to explain what they were going through when they were creating that music. And I think for me, the compliments of people saying this is good content, this is a much
Mm,
needed content, this is that has in itself been such a motivator. And also,
yeah.
I think because also I also use a bit of my skills as well, with because I did a bit of sound technology back then, and I've always
Yeah.
wondered, oh my gosh, when am I ever going to use this? But actually I am a singer, songwriter, and I do,
Yeah.
I will record at some point. I do need it, but also this particularly has also stretched my sound technology
Yeah.
techniques that strengthen that, and to utilize that, and to see people also not commenting on the content, but also how it's laid out, because you get the
Mm,
music fading in and out and stuff. That has
mm,
been a good. I viewed it. I was like, it's actually been a good season,
yeah.
So. Mm.
Yeah, and I guess there's a lot to learn in the process. Nikki was just saying this gives confidence to those sitting on their talents. Keep it up. And obviously, Maxwell also watching, from the USA as well. So we are going far, Mbasa. We are going far. Mbasa, I have this question, and it links to the messaging that music is carrying. I think that's a topic on its own, but really quickly, should all music have a message? Because some of the music that we get down to, especially these days, you try really, really hard to listen and try and pick out the message, and it's not always that try that you find a message. So should music be inspired by a message? Should is there criteria, or it just depends?
I think if we were to limit that, also because it depends what a message is for you, right?
Mm,
Uh, because a message is not necessarily vocally, you know.
yeah.
It can be a number of things. If I've got a jazz, um, an instrumental jazz music playing in the background, and there's no vocals, it says, they're just communicating through the instruments. There's a certain
Mm,
message you get there, because also if it evokes your emotions, then it certainly
mhm.
has some form of emotion.
Yeah.
um but it's a tricky question. I don't want to it's quite a tricky question, but I just think that, um in our country, we've got a vast amount of music, and I think it's
Mm,
music for certain places, or certain seasons
mm,
of our lives. And I think that's the beauty about having all this pool of music, is that you can choose,
yeah.
etc. So I think that's where I'll stand with that question, is that I wouldn't to just being like a message, like a vocal
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess as South African, we are very, much creative. And every song or sound that comes, we have a way of interpreting it in our own way, and just celebrating what is music. Yeah. I see time is hitting on us, so I'm just going to quickly move on. I just want to speak a little bit about the music industry, and just starting at a point to say you have been in the music industry let's say, for a considerable amount of time now. How is the South African music industry, if you were to paint a picture of that? Well, at least from your experience.
Hmm. Um, okay, when you say South African music industry, because I would say I'm still like I'm still growing. I'm not. I don't think I'm a South African brand name yet.
Yeah.
You know, but just locally and in terms of regionally, in terms of the Eastern Cape. When you're asking how the South African music industry is, what angle would you like me to take with this question?
So
Because
so as broad as you can be, I want to know, is it easy if we have someone that is young and sitting and thinking that I want to get into the music industry, and that could be locally, that could be regional, or even nationally or continentally. Is it easy to
yeah.
break in, resources wise? Are you going to be needing a lot of resources? What does that look like? And maybe the other, as we get towards the end, something that definitely I want to know is that some people might think that this industry is male dominated or power dominated with the big names, right? And trying to just break into that space where there are big players is how does that play out?
Um, I don't. It's not an easy industry. I think nothing is easy, really. Because it's a craft. Like it's. I mean, I'm still learning. I know that I'm still not yet ready to record, both financially and both in terms of preparation. Um, it's not easy, and majority every artist I've spoken to, it's not easy. The industry is not easy, especially both sides, whether you are an independent artist or a signed by a record label artist, right? And I think mostly, I just want to maybe even speak into how it's being portrayed to us, right? I think we've seen a lot of it being glitz and glam. We've seen a lot of it being portrayed as this glorious, it's about being famous, etc. But I think for me, when I feel like when you get into the music industry, your intention shouldn't be to get famous. It should be just the fact that you're passionate about music and you really want to reach the right people for music. And this is why I feel like at some point you get to hear one particular person who sounds like the other. While you can hear that they probably have a unique sound to them, but they're afraid because of exploring their own sound, simply for the reason that this is what the way it's been portrayed, the way the music industry has been portrayed. It's like, this is what is currently playing, this is what you make money off, this is what makes you famous, this is a popular thing now. But I don't think being an artist is about that. It's about feeling the rhythm in your heart and going with that. And eventually your people will follow you. The people who need your music will follow you. So it's not easy. And even, I was talking to Nomfundo Kaluva, one of the participating artists in the podcast we're just talking about, because she was the vice chairman of Samra Foundation for 4 years. She was actually the youngest board member, because I think also her expertise, she's just amazing. She's just a well of knowledge. And just speaking into the male dominance side of it, she, when she came into the foundation, things were very different, and she had to position herself in such a way that whenever decisions are made, women are represented within that decision making. So I do think that because it's a tough industry, and I think Msaki has mentioned that on more occasions, that just being a woman, and also when she was even overseas, touring, because obviously she's got kids, and people asking her such questions as, who are your kids with? Who's looking after your kids when you're here performing? And you're like, but this is between me and my partner. It has nothing to do, So it's there's a lot of perception that needs to change. A lot. I mean, also our music industry is not really. It's not really regulated, and I'm even in the middle of reading this other paper just about musicians being exploited, and these things you don't hear about. It's not things you hear about. When we talk about the music industry, we're just talking about lights, camera action, music videos, blah blah blah. We don't we're not exposed enough to the behind the scenes and the process. No one, the thing is, when you want to be a pharmacist, you go and you study, and when you are in, I think it's in your internship year or community, I don't know when, but you also have bar exams, just like in law, etc. But when you are a musician, and I'm not saying that, I mean, talent, when you're talented, you're talented, but with musician, you say you want to be a musician, but so now I'm talking in terms of what the path should be. You don't know about SAMRO, you don't know about RISA. Like, these are the regulating organizations of music. That's where people end up then being exploited, because we don't know our rights, right? And even the whole thing of like the fact that when you do a gig, even by like government or wherever, it takes months and months to get your money, your remuneration for the work that you've done, and that speaks volumes. How much, as much as we can't live without music, but yet musicians are the most exploited and not really cared for people. And you get countries that where you are a musician, you actually even by virtue of you being a musician, even if you don't have gigs, etc., you get a monthly stipend or a monthly salary because you are a musician, and so it's quite messy. And I know that there's initiatives that people are developing, etc. Sonzayo has also started an organization, which is great, of the arts, to educate people. It's just that with the music industry, we've been taught the one side of it that should be the fruit of the work you would have been doing in the background. But you're not taught the fundamentals, and this is the thing. You're on your own. You need to find all these things out by yourself. And for me, that's the issue that's lacking. There's not enough platforms educating people about what really music business is.
Interesting, very interesting stuff that you're bringing up, but I just want to pick on a few which I think that are very important. A point that you're making is to say there is space for everyone in the music industry, but what you have to do is to be authentic. You're bringing in the theme of authenticity and being an authentic self and bringing your authentic version to the people and letting people feast off that, and also noting the difficulties. And I just want to pick out on a point that you mentioned at the end when you say you are on your own, and it really touches with something that I wanted to pick up on, which is social capital. Everyone is speaking about social capital right now. You need to be aligned or connected to a specific person, to a specific institution. How important is that to making it? Do you have to know someone? Are you keen to just explore that point just a little bit?
I think connections are so important, but I think more so relationship centered connections. Not just to connect with the intent of like, I want this, but I mean, I know musicians and people who were friends from like college, etc., who've connected in the industry, and their relationships are solid because of that. So so this is the other thing. It's very hard. It's very hard to make genuine connections in the industry, because I think, especially when people see that you are talented, it's mainly it's most in most cases it's just a matter of wanting something from you and wanting to exploit, you know. So it becomes very hard to I don't know how to put it. It just that aspect, you know, it becomes really hard to cultivate a genuine relationship. And you'll hear even most artists, even like in industries such as in the categories such as the gospel industry, that the relationships are not genuine. You know, it's even one artist said to me, but I didn't put this on the podcast, that it's a dog eat dog world. What do you call that? It's a it's rife. It's actually rife. So I would say it cultivate relationships, like look out for relationships more than you're looking for something from people. So, and I've learned that I know a couple of people here in Grahamstown that I'm like, you know, if I stick to these people and just relate to them and keep working with them and listen to them, because they've got the experience and they've got even friends in the industry that are genuine, then I can see, like, not even a smooth path in my career, but I can see I'll be able to see the good intentions. I know that it won't be a thing of exploitation, but it will just be doing business. And I think that the issue of connection is important, because you're the musician. You're just bringing the music. There's instrumentalists, there's engineers, there's publicists, there's all of those things. So it's important to, you know, cultivate those relationships as genuinely as you can.
Yeah. Powerful point of cultivating relationships, other than just saying that I want this, so I'm going to use you. And it does seem as if you are, you know, using people. And I think it's a lesson that goes across the board. If you are in any career, meaningful relationships that, you know, lifelong, if that is even possible, that, you know, then become a ladder for you, you know. Yeah. I just wanted to, I see time really, we were supposed to be here for an hour, but there's a point that I really want to pick up on, and this is because I heard you, you know, speaking about, you know, how hard it is, especially for artists. You do a gig here and money doesn't come in, but what of in an environment where we have COVID-19? I think I was reading a letter that was written to the minister this morning, and by a guy called Ishmael, and he was really trying to tell the story of how, you know, the arts industry is struggling, because obviously we thrive by putting people in one place and entertaining them, or whatever that is, healing process, therapy, whatever it is, but that's how we thrive, right? And now we have this, you know, this pandemic that has just swept across the globe, and other infrastructures that are supporting you guys as artists, and how has the last almost a year now, how has that been?
There has been. I mean, I was privileged enough to get some sort of relief funding, but also that came after a while, you know. And so I had to even stretch it over a period, you know, because it wasn't enough. So, and you see there's actually foreign funders now who are sort of coming, but also that's also, it's like it's not enough for, you know, the best, because we've got a lot of artists in our country. We've got a lot of arts practitioners, you know. So it's very sad. I think when it comes to artists, and also I think the transparency aspect of it, that decisions are made, you know, just like that, and then they're flipped around. For instance, there was one government organization that promised funding, and then they switched it into something. I was just like, this is ridiculous, because there's a lot of artists out there who are going to bed hungry. There has been artists who committed suicide over the COVID period because there's nothing to put on the table, And so we lack the infrastructure. There's not proper structures in place. There's no accountability. There's no there's not enough transparency, it's just, and I think I was even thinking today that if you look at the arts sector, it will give you an enough vision of what the country looks like. Just look at the arts, then so it's for most artists, it's been hard. It's really been hard. And even the period of transition into online platforms, etc. That's hard. That is really hard, because it needs equipment, it needs this and that, and so I'm also part of a group on Facebook. I'm for the arts, that was founded by Ngoma. And the stories you just hear there, people going, to bed hungry, and people asking for like a meal for the day, because they actually don't know where it's gonna come from. So it's really real. It's really real. And then for me, it also feeds into, a lot of people, when you say you want to pursue the arts, especially in our Black community, like, are you sure? There's no money there. Are you sure? And so things like that get validated at this time. People are filled with regret. Why did I even choose the arts? So it's I don't even know what the solution could be. I don't know what the solution.
Listen, I think there are powers that hold authority, and if this video by any chance reaches people with power and influence, I think it's a very important point to make, to say, if we keep on neglecting the arts industry, if we keep on neglecting our artists, then at some point when we want to come back to the arts industry, there won't be an arts industry to come back to. After the virus has gone, when we want to come back to our artists that we so much value, that are a big part of life in general, when we want to come back to them, then I fear that there won't be, artists remaining. And this is something to take note, and something seriously needs to be urgently done, and something sustainable as well. You were speaking about the online platforms. Those ones come with their own challenges. Putting stuff online itself, how do you regulate that? How do you ensure that people are not downloading illegally? How do you monetize it? There's a whole lot of schooling around it, but also we do not have the infrastructure to make sure that we fence and make sure that people do not just download for free and sell actually our work online. So many artists and productions are actually afraid to put their work online. So it's scary, but just hearing it from you, it's heartbreaking. I mean, the stories that you are saying, people going to bed hungry, some people committing suicide, that is sad and a cause for concern for those that have influence and those that have power. Mbasa,
just to add one more. Sorry, yes. Just to add one more point on that. I think even this is the thing about being an artist. One of the supporters mentioned this, that artists are meant to create, and if you're not creating, it's like you're living in a cage. You're not breathing. And for me, I think one of the courageous people just in life are artists who keep on practicing, because it's innate. It's like, if I stop, then what? And I even with the point that you're saying of if they don't if nothing is done about such things, where there's a pandemic that affects and artists are left at the bottom of the food chain, there won't be art. Yes, there wouldn't be art, but I think we would just maybe end up with a lot of artists full of resentment. There will still be, it will need also a healing on its own, a healing path of being like, okay, I'm creating, but am I really, getting the benefits? That's why it's a complex issue, but hopefully that things, move in order and come together.
Yeah, hopefully so. We are all rooting for that, and hopefully it does, and the sooner the better. I was just going to say that as we really try to conclude this discussion, what are we expecting from Nombasa in the future? What does the future hold for Nombasa?
Sure, Freddie, I feel like I've had to stop answering that question because of how unpredictable the times we live in are.
True, very true.
Yeah, I think it's just moving with whatever I'm feeling led to, whether it's recording or pausing and learning. So it's very hard to say at this point, but obviously the ultimate goal is I would really, really love to have an album, and recording is expensive. We'll have to see as the future unravels.
Yeah, powerful. And definitely we'll be really waiting for that album. Some of us we enjoy your work. Trust me, I'm a huge fan. I'm really a huge fan. So when that comes out, please touch us up. And and of course, if you've not watched some of Nombasa's work, please do look it up. I know I tried to check out some of your, some of the work that you have been doing. It's not a lot that you've put online, Basa.
Yeah. No, not a lot, but I haven't been very diligent with that. Also, because I think I'd really love to do just professional stuff, and put it out there. So we'll work towards it at this pace. I don't know, I was interviewing one person who started off in the industry, I think just over 10 years ago, and she only released like an album recently. So it's very it's a tricky one, but we soldier on because we love the art.
There's a young person listening to you right now, Mbasa, and they are saying that I really believe that I should be in the music industry, and whether that is a passion or it's a calling upon their life, that they should be in the music industry. But maybe they are shy, or they just don't know what to do. What message would you, give to such a person?
I think it's so important to find your voice. It's so important to know what you don't like so that you know what you like. So what do you feel you wanna change? Look around, and what do you want to change, and does it resonate with the rhythm and the sound that's in your heart? And keep learning. Keep learning. Don't stop learning. If you want to be in the drama, in like theater, learn about theater. If you want to be in music, learn about the music industry. Not just what we see, but learn about what regulations there are. Learn about the institutions that offer music. Learn about the organizations that govern your product of music. When you've produced, when you've offered some form of, offering of some sort, in the arts, what governs that? What's your part, and what will you get from it? What does it mean for the next person? What does it mean, So learn about your rights. Learn as much as you can before you dive in. Also, I know that some people want to be signed by record labels. That's okay. If you're able to read the contract, get a witness who will also be who also read the contract, to not, so that you don't bind your whole life into, like, you know, to a record label.
Yeah.
Please do so. But most importantly, you choose what you want to do and how you want to do it.
Yeah. Very powerful. I think there is a saying that says knowledge is power, and we often just say it, but what we don't realize is that with power comes the right not to be exploited. With power comes actually the influence to know exactly where to go and how to influence, whether that is companies or production labels, etc., or listeners. So knowledge, something really powerful that you're saying there. Any other last words that you'd like to leave other than that, as we are really wrapping up?
No, not at all. I think I've
Yeah.
said much of what I really had my heart for this interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having me, and I hope this
Yeah.
reaches the right ears, and it
Yeah.
stimulates something in people's hearts, ideas to be implemented, etc.
Yeah. Now, I guess our listeners will understand why I've been referring to the amazing Mbasa. It has been truly been an amazing hour and 15 minutes. Usually we try and keep it to the hour. And trust me, I had so much more questions that I'd wanted to explore, that I wanted to ask. But obviously time is not on our side. And in the interest of data, obviously we have to end. But I would just like to thank you, Mbasa, for offering your time, knowledge, and experience, and just sharing that with this community of young people. I do hope that they take what you are giving them and run with it, and that they are inspired to start their own journeys and tell their own stories as well. I would also like, in the same vein, to just thank our sponsors, Biz Legal, which are also a group with Mimshek International. They're the company that do our lovely posters. If you are looking for a company to do your branding, or if you're looking to start a company and register it, and you don't know how to go around it, please do get into contact with us. We will certainly, connect you to them. Very amazing people. But above all, I want to thank you, the listeners that have, spent the hour 15 minutes with us. Thank you so very much. Without you, we are nothing. And your loyalty gives us strength. I want to promise that on Young Aspirations, there is a lot of inspirational stuff that is coming up. When we say building communities of excellence, we are not joking. This is just the beginning, and I can promise you more is to come. Stay tuned, like the page, share it with friends, invite friends to come and be part of this community. And I know that together we can do amazing things. Once again, thank you so much, Nombasa, from myself and Nombasa. Thank you and good night.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.